We're going to need a roll call vote first. Or not vote, but roll call, Lisa.
Okay. Bill Gerlach.
Hey, I'm here.
Brian Keeler.
Present.
Bob Galuccio.
Here.
Nina Finger.
I'm here.
Kathy Piero.
Present.
Who am I missing? Sarah Sterling.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. You need a motion to open the special meeting. And a
I'll
second.
make it. Sterling second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. This past Monday, we did have the public hearing on the GTEL broadband expansion project. And just to give everybody a quick overview, Germantel was awarded $8.4 million in grants through the New York Broadband Initiative and used internal funds as well. During construction, costs increased by $4 million. And the bottom line is that's where we're at now. They had to borrow $4 million extra. And the mortgage recording tax of 1.25% was $50,000. And that's what they're taking up with the IDA, with our organization. I had asked Mike to do a cost analysis, and which I believe some of you have seen before. And when we come down, I'm going to have Mike explain this a little more in depth. But what we're looking at is what the IDA usually gets is a 15% of the 1% of the total project. But in this case, the total project of $4 million, but we're not trying to, they're not looking for any pilot programs. GTEL is not looking for any sales tax relief. What we're looking for is relief on the mortgage tax. And Mike, if you want to jump in and just go over the analysis.
Well, there
came up with.
There are two items, Mr. Chairman. One is the economic analysis that we had performed by Camoin Associates. It's a benefit/cost analysis and economic and fiscal impact report. And you should all have received that earlier today. They take the purpose of this report is to take a look at how much benefit the IDA is being asked to provide and compare that to the benefit that the project will have to the community, both direct benefit in terms of dollars and indirect benefit, which would result from the investment. As you know, this overall is a $16 million project in Columbia County. It will add nearly 300 miles of fiber optic cable as a backbone to expand service to 5,000 homes. Presumably in that footprint will also be businesses that currently don't have adequate broadband connectivity. The project is ongoing and more hookups will be completed. It will result in 4 construction jobs and 4 new permanent GTEL employees for expanded operations. When you look at that, it's hard to take the $16 million investment or even the $4 million portion of it that the IDA is being asked to assist with and project out all of the dollar benefits that will come from that. The so-called leveraged benefits from the investment. So we only looked at the direct benefit. And basically, since it's most IDA deals are done on a 10-year basis, the analysis is done over 10 years. It takes into effect the sales tax, additional sales tax that will be generated by the workers, by the construction of the project, and compares that to the foregone revenue that the mortgage tax represents. And that analysis shows that for every dollar of foregone revenue that the IDA is being requested to provide, there'll be $1.35 returned to the community. Again, that's because we're only looking at $4 million of the project because of the way this economic model is developed, and IDAs around the state use the same model. And so certainly we're able to demonstrate with hard dollars, the project will generate a return to the county through sales tax in excess of the amount that the company is seeking. And in addition, the intangible benefit or indirect benefit or the spin-off benefit that will come from connecting 5,000 additional homes and the businesses that might be in that footprint. We could all make calculations, but it would be pretty subjective. But certainly with that type of an investment and those number of additional hookups and the ability for future hookups, when you take that into consideration, I think it's certainly this agency can make a finding that the project will result in greater economic benefit to the county far in excess of the amount of benefit the company is seeking. So that's the economic report. Are there any questions relating to that analysis, which we had to go through as part of this evaluation? If there are no questions,
Now, I just want to make a note that I just received this information.
yes. Unfortunately, the consultant that we hired got it to us last night. You know, it's fairly basic.
Yes, it is. It's clear.
And it's driven by a computer program from the Center for Government Research in Rochester that most of the IDAs in the state contract with for to put in the inputs. And you know, as it says, the main purpose is to calculate whether the county, between the county, town, and school district, would get a greater benefit than they're being asked to provide in incentives. Now, when you have an IDA project that is seeking a pilot, a sales tax exemption, and a mortgage tax exemption, this analysis is much more complex because you have
Right.
to determine what are the foregone taxes under a pilot, what are the foregone sales tax if the project has components that are subject to sales tax obligations, and what is the savings on the mortgage tax exemption. So, you know, again, because this project is only seeking a mortgage tax exemption, it's a much simpler analysis. If you look at page let's see,
Page
four. I
or
guess
page
four.
6, I think.
Yeah, page six, Sarah. Yeah,
It's got the 135 on it.
you've got
Yeah.
one-time sales tax revenue from construction earnings, and if you go back a page, it calculates what the new earnings would be. One-time sales tax revenue, resident workers on construction, and then calculates one-time sales tax on non-resident workers for temporary construction. And then it looks at the annual sales tax on on-site operations. Because you remember the enhanced benefit of this project from a county and town revenue standpoint comes from the fact that now that there's more internet connections and more monthly broadband customers, that service is all subject to sales tax. So if you were looking at not doing this, that sales tax would never would never materialize, and so the comparison is in this case because it doesn't involve a pilot, or it doesn't involve a sales tax exemption. It's strictly looking at sales tax revenue that will be derived from this expansion. Then if you look at page 6, we only used 4 million. We didn't use the full 16 million. We're trying to be conservative in our analysis, so that I think sometimes when you get into these cost benefit analysis, you can over estimate the benefit when you're not sticking to the exact numbers that you're looking at. So, we looked at 25% of the project cost, and if she had run the numbers at 16, it would be a much higher number. But clearly we wanted to be able to assure the IDA that on a conservative basis, that the sales tax revenue that will be derived from the construction and implementation and long-term operation of this investment outweighs the mortgage tax exemption being sought.
Yeah, it's good to have this in the record. Great, thanks.
Are there any other questions on the economic analysis? If not, I was also asked by the chairman to look at the IDA's history in connection with its fee, its standard fee. And as he mentioned, as the discussion began, our current policy is to charge a 1% IDA fee. Now, the agency has previous precedent in connection with the Sunstream solar project, where the developer did not need a pilot agreement because at the time, the entire project was tax exempt under state law for 15 years. So the IDA was asked to assist the Sunstream project in connection with providing a sales tax exemption on sales tax that the company would have had to pay in connection with purchasing equipment, and a mortgage tax exemption in connection with the permanent financing of that project. At the time, prior to my joining CEDC, CEDC undertook an analysis and looked at, if the project did include a pilot, what percentage did each of the 3 benefits represent? So you could get a weighted average of the benefits. So what I did here was I said, well, if this was a traditional $4 million real estate IDA project seeking all 3 exemptions, and the project had a $4 million mortgage, if $800,000 of the $4 million was eligible for the sales tax exemption, and we used a $3 million assessment based on a $4 million project with $800,000 for equipment and $200,000 for soft costs, and using tax rates in Germantown, what would the full benefit be to the company seeking the benefits of the IDA's authority in that case? So when I did that, and there is a chart that shows this, the mortgage tax exemption is 1.25%. So that's worth $50,000. If the project was a traditional project and had $800,000 in eligible sales tax purchases at 8%, that would be $64,000 in sales tax exemption. And based on a $3 million assessment using local tax rates and the IDA's uniform pilot policy, the tax savings to the company would be $216,000. So the total value of the benefits under a $4 million project that seeked all of the 3 benefits using these assumptions would be $330,000. $50,000 of benefit is 15% of that total. So if you took 15%, of the 1% fee, you would be, $4 million, 1% fee would be 40. 15% of that would be $6,000. For your information, the applicant has already paid $1,000 application fee. So I was asked to provide that as a factual analysis that showed what how the agency has addressed projects in the past where the developer was not seeking all three of the agency's benefits. Mr. Chairman?
Yes. One consideration that's cropped up since we started with the GTEL discussion, as the ABO has criticized Jefferson County for not doing, is for jumping around in these same type of projects and just sort of pulling their administrative fees out of the air. So Mike's done a great job, and we've done an analysis on it. And what we've come down with is we're in a range of between probably 6,000 and 10,000. My own thoughts on this were, if we did an $8,000, which is 20%, okay, and the applicant's already paid $1,000 in the application fee. If we take that off, we'd be looking at a $7,000 fee. And I'm going to open that up to the members. My justification on this is with the background of with the expansion, as Mike is going over, and the benefits to the consumer and the broadband, which everybody knows we have to have and need in this county. It's a big undertaking, and this extra $4 million was an unanticipated expense. But the benefits to the county, to the consumers, and to the residents, I think we need to try to help. And basically, it's not helping as much. We're helping the residents in the county. You got to remember that also that Germantown Tel was locked in by the state. They can only charge $59 a month for this service, and it's also $1,000 for each installation. So we need, they need a little relief, like to try to help him. But it's the whole county that's going to benefit. So that's my proposal. I would, looking at it, say $7,000 as an administrative fee. I'll open it up. Anybody else like to comment?
Bob Galuccio, Cappy, what was Mike's number again on
Well, Mike,
administrative fee? What the calculations?
Well, on the calculation, it was 15%. But again, these calculations are not exact, and they've already paid $1,000.
So, Mike, it came out to 6,000 then? Is that right?
Well, if you used 15%, but again, these are estimates, and I think that we do have costs related to this. We have the cost associated with the consultant's report, and we do have staff time, which you've already paid for, but you need to generate fees to be able to compensate us. So to be razor edge, I don't know is the best approach, but certainly coming up with something that's more reasonable than what we were initially discussing.
Wouldn't the application fee be rolled into the total fee? So we're talking about 8,000 altogether?
Well,
Or 8 or 6? Well, the application fee is separate from the project fee, though.
Okay.
So that you need to figure out the project fee because we've already collected the application fee.
Okay, thanks.
yeah, what I was saying, Sarah, was if we use the 20% number, it would be $8,000, and then subtracting, they've already paid $1,000. So basically, what I'm saying is a $7,000 administration fee, plus they've already paid the $1,000 application fee, which would be a total of 8.
Okay. Got it.
Anyone else have any thoughts?
What is G-Tel, what are they asking for? No fee?
No, this is Bill Better. We were
Hi,
asked
Bill.
for a fee that was commensurate with the percentage of benefits allocated to the transaction. And I appreciate what Mike Tucker has gone through, because I think that's the only way you do that economic analysis is what
Yeah.
percentage is attributable to what we're asking for.
Okay.
So, and
So,
typically, if you have a pilot, there's internal costs associated with maintaining and reviewing it every year. Same thing, there's reports for sales tax. This is kind of a one-shot deal.
So there's no reporting on this one? Is there no?
No ongoing
Well,
annual.
we do have
Okay.
on job reporting because of the Club Act language. Is that right,
Right.
Ted?
well, Mike, I like your computations. I like the 6K.
Plus the application fee.
7K.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
then it'll be 7.
Yeah. 'cause
No,
I-
eight
not-
altogether.
Well, no, I think what
No.
Bob's
7, right?
saying is 6 plus 1.
Oh, 6 plus.
Yeah, if you go with Cappy's, this is Ted Gutterman. If you go with Cappy's proposal, the project fee would be $7,000. You discount the project fee for the $1,000 that was paid for the application fee, which was a separate fee.
Okay, including the application.
Guys, this is Brian. It sounds reasonable to me. Ted, do you concur? I mean, are we in line with this?
I would like to defer on the fee because I think that's not really up to the IDA board members to figure out what you think is a reasonable fee.
Okay.
What we're trying to do, as Mike had mentioned, is there is a little history on this, and Mike also can probably speak to this one too, is that we are going to have quite a few more projects coming down the pike where this is going to happen.
Let me just touch base on that, Mr. Chairman. As many of you know, the county is being inundated with proposals for utility scale solar projects. And those projects are in many instances opposed by local town supervisors and residents on the basis that they're too large for the community, even though there's tremendous real estate tax revenue that could be derived from these projects. So in order to, in essence, thwart some of these large solar projects, or at least to slow the process down to be able to further evaluate them on a home rule, local permitting, state override basis, towns and school districts and the county is considering opting out of the section of the New York State real property tax law that exempts solar projects. That means that the project has to pay 100% of the assessed value on the project, which is not necessarily the value of what the project costs, but a income approach valuation. The result is that because the IDA has the authority to provide pilots, these developers are now coming to CEDC on behalf of the as the agent of the IDA, and this has all happened since our last regular meeting, saying that the town of Copake and the Secana School District has opted out. Therefore, we want to come to you and just give us the pilot we want, and give us the sales tax exemption, and give us the mortgage tax exemption, and have a nice day. So in several instances, the thought is they could come to us to bypass what the local town and school districts have done as a protective measure. Obviously, we're going to have to evaluate more than just the policy with respect to our fees, and but we're going to have to look at do we provide that service in a community where the town board and the school board and the supervisors ask us to? Do we take a position we're not going to do any at all and slow down the opportunity to meet the goals of climate change initiatives? So there's some policy issues that are going to relate to what our role will be in solar projects. but in many instances, they're going to be coming to us simply for one or more of the three benefits. And we're going to have to develop some policies as to our fee structure that reflects the precedent and that we've looked at in the past and that this proposal is based on.
Thanks, Mike. And just to follow, I guess we all got to remember, and everybody out there is pretty much in business knows that you got to cover your expenses, and the IDA is no exemption. No different. We're here to help the county and help consumers and businesses, and so there has to be some fees. But what Mike says, we're going to have to for sure go over this and come up with some new policies.
I mean, one last
Yep.
point on this is, we have had inquiry from Drumlin Fields, the Clock Estate Distillery, and they're not anticipating taking on as much debt as perhaps another project might, and because their property in many instances is subject to ag exemptions, they're making an evaluation whether our 1% fee across the board without some pro rata policy makes it more expensive to use the IDA than to just go ahead and do traditional non-IDA financing.
Yeah, this is Ted Gutterman speaking. I think that for another day, because we're really want to focus in on the Germantown project today, but for another day, and Mike and I have talked about this, we need to reevaluate our project cost request of the company, and perhaps I'll have a further discussion with Mike about this, but perhaps Mike can get a couple of the board members together and talk about this, and maybe do a draft proposal, perhaps for the December meeting, and the board can discuss it further.
That would be great, because I think I'd like to get ahead of the, if we do get inundated, let's get ahead of it. And
Yeah, good. I agree, Sarah.
guys, thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, back to GTEL.
Okay. Does anyone else have any discussion?
Bob Galuccio, I think, we got to look here at the nature of this project. It's a good thing. It's broadband for the children, for homeschooling. I mean, we have the virus going around. I think, part of this is the nature of the project itself. And I think we got to accommodate GTEL as much as we can to get this out there.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts?
Cappy, this is Phil.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say, building on what Bob just said, we got to keep in mind, too, a lot of people are here working out of their homes. And in the case of like some people in my family, they will not be returning to their offices till sometime in 2021. So we have to have this infrastructure in place, particularly with the amount of people that are relocating up here in the Hudson Valley.
Yes, I think we all agree on that. So I guess we're down to, we have to, that was my thoughts about making a $7,000 application fee.
Project fee.
Project fee, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
You're right, I'm sorry. So does anyone else have any thoughts on a number?
I think that's fine with me.
It's
Good with
fine
me.
with me.
Well, what do we need? We would need a resolution to accept the application and to, the fee. The fee would be $7,000 administrative fee. Ted?
Right. This is Ted Gutterman. I think the first order of business, if you were proceeding to consider this request, is to do the seeker review that's required before any approvals given. And there has been submitted by Joe Scott a proposed resolution confirming that this project with the IDA of assistance will have no significant effect on the environment. And I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. This is going to help improve living conditions in the county and upgrade of the poles and the system. And but I think the board needs to weigh in on that. And assuming that the board agrees with that, a motion would be appropriate to determine that this project has no significant adverse effect on the environment.
Does anyone have any comment on that, on the sequel? If not, we'd have to entertain a motion, Ted, to,
Right. Somebody should move to adopt the resolution indicating a negative declaration.
Bob Galuccio, so moved.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 So moved. Now we would, you have we need a motion?
Right,
to-
so there's another resolution that
We got-
Joe Scott prepared, a draft resolution approving the project and approving the IDA financial assistance with respect to the assistance concerning the mortgage recording tax. Lisa, just make a note that section 3 of the resolution, item J, Joe was going to correct that because it also included erroneously sales tax and real property tax, but it just should really read mortgage recording tax. So that is also changed. And also in approving the resolution, my understanding is the board has decided that the project fee shall be $7,000. So that would be the submission of somebody making a motion to approve this resolution.
Okay. I need someone to, that is the resolution, so I need a first on a proposal to accept the resolution with a $7,000 administrative fee.
Project fee,
Project fee, right?
Yes.
including the $1,000 administration fee.
Well, that's either
separate.
separate. If it's going to be a $6,000 project fee, if you can consider the $1,000 as you have to make. I'm confused as to what it's going to be, but you have to keep the administration fee separate from the project fee, whatever you decide. Because the administration fee is paid already. Everybody pays $1,000 when they file the application.
So this motion is for a $7,000 project fee. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it, Brian.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed.
Okay, so the IDA has determined that they're going to basically assist this project with financial assistance for the mortgage recording tax, and the resolution is adopted.
Thank
Okay.
you all very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank all the board members. And like we said, we will get together. We'll have to meet and come up with some new schedules, some fee schedules. Things are changing.
I will, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I will send to the full membership of the board a copy of the Office of State Controller's review of Jefferson County IDA that was released a week or so ago, where it discusses these issues and others. And you know, it's always a good check to review the audits of other agencies to continue to ensure that we're not only up to snuff, but working on best practices.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Anybody else have anything?
I see there's a thing about public comments. I see we have 16 people on there. Are we going to ask for public comments? Is that?
Well, of course, the public hearing was on Monday,
Yeah. No,
and
but,
so that's closed, I would say, but it's at the discretion of the chairman as to whether he wants to entertain that. But we've already adopted the resolution, so.
the
Well, I
agenda
think
says public
Yeah,
comment.
I think it's not public comments related to the action you've taken. It's public
Right.
comments because we're having a public meeting.
Right. Okay.
Yes. I don't believe there was, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, I do not believe there was any public comment for the
No,
public
not at
hearing.
Not at the hearing, but
At the
does
hearing.
anyone, because we're having a special meeting, if there's anyone from the public who's on the line, we certainly, Mr. Chairman, would have you entertain their comments at this point.
Yes, anybody want to make comment? If not, I need a motion to close the special meeting.
So moved, Bob Galuccio.
Second,
Second.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, Cap.
Have a good
Okay.
week, everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.